On the Wi-Fi here?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Look at
What you like?
the swipe off it.
Towel. It's probably paper towels up there in the kitchen.
How we doing?
Okay. I think that should work.
Are you ready with that right here? Because I was going to sit in that chair.
If you want to say
That's fine. It's not going to be in the way.
it should just go.
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
Because Preston's mom and Megan Reamer wanted to. I know that he's doing like.
No, that's fine.
actually, I listed it on the TRP Facebook group. If you need to compare it, or I can email it to you.
I haven't even been on Facebook today since this morning when the reminder showed up. It's a little too much.
What's that?
Alright, how do I grab the link off there? This text history is over there, I think so.
He's going to do the whole thing, huh? He says, tell me how I did afterwards. So, John was telling me about a very romantic courtship that Cindy and Pete had. So, yes, as far as a guy, it is possible to stay away. Her parents owned a drag strip, and he had a hot car. They together raced. That is that romantic? Okay. Now she said, I thought they met on the drag strip, but she said they met in high school. But he raced on her parents' drag strip. Oh, that's a match made in heaven. And they both ride motorcycles.
I don't want to get too much.
Family's gonna sit there.
All of that rope. It doesn't matter. So they have two houses. There you go. You can do that. I see. I see. I'm getting ready to graduate.
Here's the thing, especially when you get older, you start realizing, oh, I got old. I mean, when you're young, it's a weird thing. She was only 7 by the time that happened. It was weird. I thought first like somebody was walking through her house, and then I realized what she was seeing. Yeah, I thought maybe she was seeing things, but it wasn't that. She had something in her head that was like, I'm this person and I'm that person. It was really weird. But anyway, it's a bit to be done now. So hard.
The mayor of Greyhounds. She's our mayor. That Anna right there. Right on. I can see the resemblance of her two sets.
I've never seen you this clean.
She looks a different picture. I see Deborah. I haven't seen her. Really out of touch, aren't I? You know, I hate that everybody in here is great. Not everybody. Mostly. Like I said, I'm in late today because I'm too junky. Thinking Alan's going to pick me up. She didn't give me her name, but she was such a sweetheart. She stopped, brought me to the top, laughed. I didn't get too far. You know what? I had such and she was probably trying to get me to, because it was heavy, probably trying to get me in the car. She said to me, your car's coming. I think she was one of the ladies I went to dinner with when I first got here. Her husband, the singer. Alan looks handsome. Did you dress him? Not mine.
Thank you.
She's the one that came to my house.
I didn't recognize Cindy all dressed up.
I saw them there. She didn't recognize me. Very young. I thought I knew her. Back there, yeah.
Alvin, where are you sitting? You want to sit here?
Do you remember me? My miracle. It will change. Yeah, it's got that time and through the process, your head has so trigger the next you look lovely, and I'm so happy to see you. Our church is up. Got that answer on the board that they found it with the report that they wanted to address it. But they said it's minor, it's not bad, but it's minor compared to what he's done. But they want to address it before he gets out of this. Oh, I believe that.
Good afternoon, everyone. If everyone could make their way to a place to sit. There's still some more seats up here up closer to the front. If anybody's looking for a place. Welcome, everyone, to a celebration of life for John Kevin Clark. Let me start with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we are gathered here today to celebrate the life of John. We will celebrate John as a husband, a father, a brother, a friend, and a neighbor. I ask for you to fill this room and our hearts with love and support for Cindy, her entire family, and for our community as we remember and honor John. In the name of Jesus, amen. John was born November 19th, 1957. He is survived by his wife Cindy, daughters Hillary and Hannah, sisters Debbie, Penny, Stephanie, brother Sam, and his dog Lucy, who I spent a little time with yesterday. A reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. And a time to love. Friends, today is that time. It is time to love. A time to love this precious family and each other as we remember and honor John. Cindy, are you ready? Come on, sweetie.
I have to hold it. I don't know if I can turn my page.
Hello? It's a little overwhelming. It's obvious to me that I'm not the only one that loved John. I appreciate it. So I want to thank everyone for coming here today to remember John and to understand who he was and the ways he touched our lives. Some of you, his brother Sam and his sisters Debbie, Penny, and Stephanie, are a big part of his younger life, while others of you have only come to know him since we arrived in Aiken 6.5 years ago. Allow me to share his story with everyone, from my perspective, with the hope that some of you will later share his story from your own. Our relationship began in our 11th year of high school. I was walking down the corridor and came around the corner where John was sitting on a bench. "I hate your shoes," he said. They were platform clogs with wooden soles that made every footstep echo loudly in the otherwise empty hallway. He had a point. "I hate your socks," I replied. They were neon orange, and he was wearing them with maroon and gray plaid bell-bottom pants, as you did in the 70s. From his sitting position, those socks not only showed, they glowed. I had a point too. We soon began dating, going steady, as it is said in high school. We married 3 years later on April 15, 1978, Tax Day, easy to remember. But before we were even married, we started building our first house, a log cabin. We had no experience, only the desire and a keen sense of adventure. We made some mistakes, but we learned along the way, and it turned out pretty good for a couple of teenagers. But that's because one of us was John. He was blessed with an ingenuity, cleverness, and a can-do attitude. Never afraid to try something new or to find a better way. I was blessed to be by his side, then and for the next 45 years. Not long after the cabin was built, financial difficulties led us to enlist in the military. We left for Air Force basic training on the same day, trained in the same career field, aerospace ground equipment mechanics, and spent the next 4 years stationed together in Panama City, Florida. John was chosen to go below the zone and tested early for promotion to E5, Staff Sergeant, in just 3.5 years, an achievement John was very proud of, and rightfully so. With our honorable discharges, we headed back to our cabin to start a family. John never settled down to one career. Although building was ever the underlying theme, working for others and independently, he did so many other things. Mechanic, cemetery restorer, snowplow wingman, highway superintendent, truck driver, school bus driver, farrier. He did many of these things concurrently,
I have many hats, he would say. As he moved from one activity to another, he would declare that it was time to change his hat. Figuratively speaking, though, he wore those hats on the inside. John could have been the poster child for do-it-yourselfers. We rarely hired a professional. Instead, John would come and become the professional as needed. Our vehicles were never in the shop. We never called a plumber. We cut our own firewood. We baled our own hay. We grew our own vegetables. We never had much money, but we didn't need to. He built a $3 greenhouse for us using wood, windows, and doors that he'd saved from job sites. The $3 was for a can of spray foam insulation. When we started maple syruping, we didn't have the means to invest in the equipment, so John designed his own system. He hung plastic milk jugs on the trees with baling twine and made the spiles from old garden hose. And we collected and filled the sap back to the house on a plastic toboggan to cook down on our wood stove. Our young daughter asked me once, "Are we poor?" "No," I said, "we just don't have money." And we have John. John's strengths were building things, fixing things, making things, and helping people. He built houses, barns, chicken coops, fences. He built beds, tables, and chairs, always exploring new and better, clever ways. He fixed whatever needed fixing: cars, lawnmowers, tools, appliances, door hinges, hoses, leaky boots, zippers, clocks. Perhaps some of you remember the TV show MacGyver. MacGyver would always save the day using whatever was at hand to escape or defuse a bomb or whatever. John was our MacGyver. Give him a coat hanger, a toothpick, a bobby pin, a rubber band, some super glue, and he could fix almost anything. He was always making things. He made toys for the girls when they were young. He made jewelry for his girls when they were older. And he made food. He cooked and he baked, rarely using a recipe. We called him the Muffin Man. He would make muffins and give them away. Many of us here have been a recipient of a personal or mailbox delivery from John, the Muffin Man. And he helped people. He helped them build things, fix things, and make things. He helped me. He washed the dishes. He folded the laundry. He cooked our dinners. He mowed the lawn. He fed the animals. He anticipated my needs. Does your pocket knife need sharpening? Does your car need gas? Do you need me to get a bail down? He helped others. It was not unlike John to quicken his pace, to open a door for a fellow shopper, or to assist others loading lumber into their pickups at Lowe's. He was often called upon by our neighbors and friends needing his help with something: a leaky faucet, a ride to the airport, clogged heat troughs, a horseshoe needing to be tacked back on, furniture moved, pictures hung, a ride home from the hospital. He was always happy to help. John and I always held hands along the beach, on the trail, and on city streets, across parking lots, or to the barn and back. Whenever we walked side by side, my hand was held in his. And his hands were always warm. He was a healer. Throughout his life, he studied healing with herbs, with gemstones, with universal energy. He became a Reiki master. God's love, universal energy, flowed through his hands. The past few months have been busy ones for us. I was busy with barn cleaning and pet sitting, often overnighting away from home. He was busy building the house and taking care of things in my absence. We seemed to only see each other in passing, in small snippets of each day. So we started this thing we called 20 seconds. Each morning we would stand embracing each other. For 20 seconds we held each other, breathed in unison, and felt each other's heartbeats and connected. Our last 20 seconds was at the hospital last Saturday. We did not stand, but I embraced him. We did not breathe in unison, and I could not feel his heartbeat. Our connection now is different. So I ask you please, in John's honor, to start a 20-second ritual with those you love. Hold each other, breathe in unison, feel each other's heartbeats, and connect.
You ready, sweetie?
It's never a thing that I thought I'd be doing. I mean, I guess you always think that at some point you're gonna have to go through this, but not here and not now. And I really appreciate everybody coming out. It's amazing to see all the love and support in this community and family that we have. My dad would have loved it. He absolutely loved people. Sometimes too much. Like, come on, we just gotta get going. And no, he'd want to talk to this one and that one and make sure that all of you felt seen and heard and welcomed. When I think of my dad and I think of this going forward, I think about who's going to fix the lawnmower, who's going to fix my brakes, who's gonna fix me dinner when I'm working late. And it sounds like all that I think about is the things that he did for me, but when you think about the love language that people have, his love language was acts of service. Every time that he did those things, he was showing us that he loved us. And the things that I remember most and like to do for him was to make sure that he had the foods that he enjoyed. I make sure he had a pocket full of his favorite candies. Pick up some Spice Drops from the dollar store. And he always made sure to save the green ones and the white ones just for me, because those are the only ones that I like out of those. I don't want any of that cinnamon stuff. Nothing spicy, just the green and white ones. So he'd always save those ones for me. I also remember back to, as a child, learning about all the things that he's taught me. He started by building me my absolute favorite Christmas present ever, which was a barn for my model horses. And it was for my 8th Christmas when I was 8 years old. And it's still one of my most treasured possessions. I can't wait to set it up with my horses and play with it again. And now he's built me a house. I was very lucky to be by his side, learning from him as we went along. There were a lot of challenges we found as we were working our way through how to do all the things that I wanted in my house. And one of the things we got to doing was when we were stuck on something, we would go over it before the end of the day. We'd go over, what do we need to do? How do we want it to happen? And by the morning, he would have a solution. He just had that ingenuity and the ability to see things clearly and how to make it come to fruition. I also remember when I was very small, going with him and my grandpa to the pancake breakfast. It was a fundraiser for the Masonic Lodge, and every Sunday they would cook breakfast for the community. I'd take orders, he'd cook the eggs, my grandpa would cook the pancakes, my uncle was at the door greeting. And as those early memories of service and helping others and bringing together the community that I remember of him, especially seeing all of you here today. And I wanted to share a few stories about my favorite things with my dad. When we first moved down here, we packed up the horse trailer with all the tools and household goods and things that we would need to get started building our run-in shed. And somehow he packed the trailer and one 5-gallon bucket got left in the driveway at our house in New York. And we're going along, we're making things and we're working, and he said, I know I packed it. It must be in that bucket. And almost every day we found a different tool or something that he already had, but it wasn't here, it was in the bucket. Until this bucket had to be of epic proportion. So we called it the magic bucket. And when we got back home about 6 weeks later and looked, pretty much none of those things were in the bucket. So I just want to remind everybody, speak with those that you love, learn their love language, speak to them in their love language. My dad's was active service, and I will think of him every time that I help somebody out going here and forward. He's taught me that.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. I know that my dad would have been amazed and just so honored to see how many lives he touched. I can see the exact face he would make when learning that you're all here to celebrate his life. Oh, for me, he would say? Well, try not to smile too much or show just how pleased he really was. But his eyes would give him away, and they would sparkle in his special way that I'm sure we all know and love. I was a bit of a daddy's girl growing up. I used to try to wake up as early as I could every morning to make sure I got to say goodbye to him before he left for work. And I would cry if I woke up a little too late and found out that he had already left for the day. We shared many interests and hobbies, just reading, brewing beer, our love for dogs, and comparing our most recent injuries. But perhaps the most significant thing we shared was our love for cooking and baking. I started helping him in the kitchen when I was very little, and some of my earliest memories are of our food, let's just call them experiments. I definitely picked up a few of his culinary habits that I brought with me into adulthood. You know, something like the sauce could always use a little bit more garlic, and that recipes and measuring, they were for the week. I learned so many other things from my dad. He taught me a multitude of life skills, some of which I didn't want to learn at the time, but I'm so thankful to know now, and so much about, well, just being a good human. He taught me how to fish, skin a deer, change the oil in my car, build fences and structures, install electrical outlets, trim hooves, back a horse trailer, restart a boiler, and finish drywall. He taught me to ask a lot of questions and to listen, not to respond, but to understand. To not fill up your plate until making sure that everyone else has gotten enough to eat, and to always offer to help, whether it's your family, your best friend, or a friend that you haven't met yet. We always called him the Wanderer. When we went on adventures, the New York State Fair, to museums, to new towns on vacations, he would always wander off ahead, always on the lookout for interesting things to show us. Now he's wandered off ahead one last time and left for the day before I got a chance to say goodbye. But I'm thankful to have such a deep well of wonderful memories to draw from until we meet again. Would you like to say a few words?
To me, John was the model of a good man. My parents had split up, and as an adult, I wasn't very close with my dad. but when John and Cindy welcomed me into their home, I felt like I got a second chance at a family. If there's one thing that I learned from him, it's to go out of your way to help people. A very common exchange was, "No, it's fine. You don't have to, but I want to." He helped us move a few times, build fences for various animals. Even he'd always swing by to grab our trash on his way to the dump. He was always helping, and he was just a fun guy to hang out with too. He would always have a story to tell. Last Father's Day, we went for a very meandering, several hours long trail ride. Yeah, I think just he was always helping people. I think the world needs more people like that.
I've known John for over 40 years. He's always been a friend. And, first time I met him was when Cindy bought him one of our family outings. And I was there when Cindy and John got married. And I remember the first house they built. We had to shovel snow, 4 foot of snow off the logs before they could start. We got a whole bunch of people together, because even back then, John had a lot of things. And, but I remember one thing about it was they got to a point where they couldn't find one log, so they couldn't go any further. So they had to put it to the side and wait until they get a new one. And we must have shoveled an acre of land with the shovels trying to find that one load. It was just a little piece of log about this big. And but over the years, we've always been friends. He was always coming up with a new idea. If we could do this, I think this would work a lot better. And that's just the way he lived his life. And we've always been way apart for many a year, but we always got back together. And it was all, it's hard to think about him not being there when I needed to talk. So the older we got, the closer we got. And I was really looking forward to helping them build their house. I just recently retired, and we had a lot of plans to come up and help. He was always there for everybody else, as you all know. And he always looked at life as an adventure. I'm gonna miss him.
The community is also going to be given a chance to speak a little bit later on. So if you just keep your thoughts at this time. About 30 years ago, I had lost a loved one, and a friend gave me this poem. And it brought me great comfort then. I've shared it with many people over the years, and I hope it does the same for you, for all of you. The title of the poem is "Grief is No Enemy." There is no tone to the fields of grief. No width, no depth, no grain. It settles in with fog-like stealth, a smothering, enduring pain. For as you seek a sure relief, some thought will sear the soul, keeping bright the loss you fight as grief collects its toll. Distortions caused by a forlorn cry may penetrate this mask and momentarily push aside the veil that shrouds each task. But in time, that bane will change to become a subtle friend, rich as gold and bright and bold. The scars will start to mend. For grief is not an enemy that seeks to warp the mind. It comes to polish memories of love and cares that bind. So savor every moment. Cherish what is past. String each pearl together in your heart where they may last. At this time, if there's anyone who would like to, in the community, that would like to share a memory, certainly, you're part of the family.
So, I'm Christopher Clark Poulos, Hillary's husband.
You're going to talk closer if you want to amplify.
I will speak. I've learned to speak in public through my job, but I am her husband. I am lucky enough to say in my life I've been lucky to have two fathers. My father, who hopefully is watching right now, I hope he knows I'm proud of him, and I'm glad I had him. But I've been lucky enough to meet Cindy and John and have another father in my life. I'm up here speaking from the heart because I've always done that. I lost my grandma when I was very little, or in high school, and she was like a mother to me. And that day I spoke from my heart too, and gave her the heart, because to that, all it is your heart, what you feel. My most Hillary spoken memories and one of my most fondest memories of him is sometimes he wouldn't help you at first, but if you tried to do it and he saw you struggle, he would come and help you and eventually finish it and show you how to do it. But sometimes we always joke you just had to get him to see that you were struggling and try and you'd help, and that's what he did. Again, he was a great man. I know I have a tough job. I cannot fill what he did in our household. I'll do my best for him. I can't be like he was. I'm not everything he was, but I'll be the best man for Hillary, for Cindy, for Hannah, because they're family. No matter what, you always love your family. I love John. I'm so proud to have known him. I hate it because it's one of the things he would say too, is his favorite thing to say, and he said it that day. You'd be doing something and it wouldn't fit just right. He said, you're just gonna have to live with it. I hate that I was there, but I'm glad I got to see him. I'm sorry that Hannah wasn't there. I am very sorry on that now. But like I said, a great man, helped you out. He was great to me. He showed me many things. I've learned many things, how to change an oil on my vehicle. My dad started it. He finished and showed me I can do that now. There's many things I could do because of him. To his family that's here, brothers and sisters, so sorry for your loss. Obviously to Cindy, Hillary, Hannah, Lee, I know he affected all of our lives, and I am sorry. I wish I could have that day back. I really do. Runs through my head. But again, thank you all for showing up. They appreciate it. We appreciate it. It shows that he was a great man and he touched a lot of people's lives, especially mine. Thank you.
So if anyone has something to say, I'll bring the mic to you. It might make it go a little bit quicker and easy. Hopefully this thing has the range.
I was so appreciative of John. When I moved in the neighborhood, I downsized from Athens, Georgia, and I had stuff everywhere, things that didn't work. And I found out about John, who came to my house, loved his sense of humor. He just turned everything, and it was so wonderful to work with because he was a measure twice, cut once kind of guy. And I appreciated that so much because I knew everything he was doing at my home was going to be done to perfection. Each and every one of us, at the time of our obituary, will have a year that we're born, a year that we die, and in between is a dash. You did a fabulous job, Cindy, and your family, of describing his dash. What a wonderful thing he did for all of us, his caring, his love, just everything you said about him as a daughter's wife, brother. Congratulations for having such a fabulous man in your life. I'll be 80 this year, and you can bet I'm thinking about my dash and what my kids will say about me and my friends will say about me. John was a wonderful man, just wonderful, and I'm proud to have known him.
My wife Lynn couldn't be here today, but she had written some nice words. She is recovering from a major hip surgery. It's not feeling so good. Lynn on Monday nights hosted a gathering of people. They were her students. They attended her class in meditation. Every week I'd ask, who was there? The first name out of her mouth, the Clarks. The Clarks were there, as well as everyone else. So this is what Lynn knew about John. John was one of a kind, very unique. His persona was love, respect, kindness, and loyalty. He was a very active listener. He was always ready to give a helping hand. During my recovery from clavicle surgery, John baked us and worked with us on the farm. John was devoted to his family, Cindy, Hillary, Anna, and their spouses. He was a family man, loving, accepting, kind. He attended meditation every Monday night, sometimes sharing his spiritual ideas and often just listening to others. He was a Reiki advocate and a Reiki healer, committed to healing himself and others. He was incredibly passionate about the design and construction of his and Cindy's new home on Snafflebit. He joyfully shared his vision of the new home with its stunning architectural details, both inside and out. He was working tirelessly to complete this project when tragedy hit. John was taken from us way too soon. John Clark was a special gift to many of us. He is soaring in the heavens now and will be forever missed. Thank you, John Clark, for being our neighbor, our friend, and our ascending star. We shall meet together again. God bless you, bless your family, and everything you touched on your divine eternal path. Thank you, John Clark.
I don't know what to say. I'd like to thank John and Cindy and their entire family for helping out. I can't even tell how many times I was in similar situations. They literally bailed me out and pretty much saved my life in a lot of ways. And to them and their whole family, I'm sorry for what's happened. And if there's anything I can do to help. But I would like to add one other job that John and several members of his family took on, and that was mover. They helped me move literally hundreds of boxes, furniture, horses, stuff, fix things, held my hand, bailed me out at the last minute's notice, I don't know how many times. And I just am forever grateful even just to know them.
There were a few people that couldn't be here today and wrote comments on the Three Runs Facebook page, and I'll read just a few of those. Gina Greer said, John was truly a sweetheart. Ruth Siegfried, loved the photo and loved the Clarks. Jensen Jennings, John was a sweet man. I remember he and I working together to offload a tractor trailer full of hay, sending my thoughts to all who knew him. Nancy Goldmark, such a lovely photo and family. Rhonda Labrighetti, such a lovely couple. I do not know Cindy personally, but I've heard many positive things about her services. My heart goes out to Cindy and family. Eileen Prusman, I'm sorry for your loss. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend, but I will be with you all in spirit. Some of my thoughts and comments about John. So many nice things have been said already, and you've heard them all. And you start to get the picture of a man by his neighbors and the people that he's touched and the people that he's interacted with. I called Cindy yesterday morning, or sent her a text early. I knew she was awake. It was really early. And I said, I want to know John better. I know John, but I want to know him better. And I need your help. I need you and Hillary and Hannah to help me with that. Would that be okay if I came over? So I went over to their house and I said, you know, a guy can know another guy if he can see his tools. I said, will you take me into the tool room? And she said, it's a mess. She said, John knows where everything is, but it's a mess. None of us can find anything. So I went in there into this room, and you could just feel John's presence in that room. Old, ancient tools that he had collected or had been handed down to him from other family members, some familiar, some I'd never seen before. An amazing collection. I guess that one of the things that caught my eye, and I said, what in the world is this? And it was a big watering can, and out of the spout, it had a hose, but at the end of the hose, there was a light bulb. And Cindy explained that had hung in your cabin. Is it?
In the last house.
It had hung in the last house. One of the unique artistic things that John was capable of. Andre and I knew John as a problem solver and a fixer like all of you did. He was the kind of guy that could look at a problem and he'd say, well, we could do this, or you could do this, or you could maybe even consider doing this. But if I was you, I would do this. Thanks, John. We have a horse that seems to like to throw shoes every month in between farrier visits. And John was always available to put a shoe back on for us. And he helped me with several other projects around our farm. And I just always enjoyed being around him. He was just a good guy. You know, we live here in this incredibly beautiful place called Three Runs Plantation. We all know that we are supposed to love our neighbors. Today, I'd say we're doing a pretty good job of it. Give yourself a round of applause for today. We're kind of loving each other, and that's what today should be about. Unfortunately, there are some days in Three Runs when we don't do a very good job. And you know what I'm talking about. I wonder why it takes a tragic loss of a friend and neighbor of this community to show the good that this community is capable of. Puzzled by that. One of the things that I've learned from John is that it is much better to attack problems than it is to attack people. John was a very special man who touched the lives of so many. He truly exemplified the spirit of what I think this community aspires to be. John lived that way every day. Let's all try to do the same. John had a favorite song. According to Cindy, he played it frequently. And it's The Sound of Silence. It's not the sound of the version that you're probably accustomed to hearing, but it's the version that John loved the most. He's getting it.
Sound of silence.
That's probably why he enjoyed it so much.
Within the sound of silence, in restless dreams I walked alone. Narrow streets of cobblestone, beneath the halo of their street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light, it sped away and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs. Their voices never shared. But no one died. Just the sound of silence. Fools say
A reading from the book of 2 Corinthians. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. On behalf of the Clark family, I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. You're all invited to stay and eat and visit. And let me close in a word of prayer and offer a word of thanks for all this food. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your presence, for your love, and for your power to heal broken hearts. Thank you for the Clark family and a community that has come together to encourage and support each other. May our conversations be pleasing to your ears as we eat and spend time together. Thank you for the food and for the many hands that work together to provide it. May it bless and nourish our bodies. In the powerful name of Jesus, amen.
You were so strong. You were so strong.
You know how good God is. We walked into that emergency room that day. So it was 8 o'clock.
That's
Yeah. Put me right in. Put me right up there. That.
Oh, it doesn't sound very heavy, man.
She may not welcome this, but I'm going to
Are you needing me for anything?
Need anything? Sorry for your loss. Nancy,
I'm working
Were you on deployment? Yeah. Wherever. Reserves? You're still with state troops? Okay. Good job, sir. Yeah.
I gotta find out how much sick time they'll give me, because I think next week is gonna be more hard this week.
Hey, Dr. Wells. How are you? Everyone's yeah. And like me, right? Like how you met? Oh, you already okay. Yeah, right now. Yeah, she told me about her story when her brother died. Yeah, both of them. Yeah, take her time you need.